There is a version of your life that is so much deeper, richer, fuller, livelier than the current version you're experiencing. And the only thing standing in between you and that version is the fact that you're looking for it in other people. And especially for women, for straight women, looking for it in men. Truthfully, today what I want to do is brainwash you into not outsourcing your joy and your happiness. You're welcome. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Danae. Thank you so much for giving me a little piece of your time today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also listen on Spotify. It's always linked in the description. So there's a moment that I've shared in the past. If you're really tuned in, you probably remember it. It's kind of revealing and embarrassing, to be honest. I don't really like to say it, but I think it's important because I think it's relatable. I know that there are other people that have the same thoughts that maybe they won't say out loud. But essentially, when I graduated university in 2021, it was the tail end of the pandemic. I was struggling to get a job. I was applying every day and really deeply nervous, scared, unsure about my future. And there was a particular day where I was just fed up from sending loads and loads of applications. And I would remember texting friends who were also dealing with the same thing. So the emotions were just heightened and the rage was strong. And I thought to myself, just sitting on my childhood bed, that I am never going to ascend and get myself out of the current situation that I'm in. Like, I cannot see a way out of this moment. And I had this little part of my brain that was like, well, if it doesn't work out, at least you can kind of get married and have a man come save you. You have double income. Maybe he'll be rich. He'll figure it out. Sort of like a worst case scenario, but also kind of like, that's also a path I could take right now instead of forcing myself to figure out this job thing, which to this version of me, that thought process is crazy. But it was true in that moment because of how much pressure and fear I felt in the moment about getting out of the position that I was in, which was unemployed, lots of student debt, and no plan. I felt like truly a failure. In that moment, it wasn't about finding someone that I love. It was literally about finding an escape route. In hindsight, I can see that my brain was fighting for a solution to a problem. It wanted to seek comfort. And because everything felt uncertain, I kind of created a cope. The cope was that I could find the quote love of my life to give me security and certainty, what I was craving and missing in that moment. But really, that decision was a way for me to find someone else to put the onus on. I'm really struggling to figure out my next steps. I don't know where I'm going to go. I have no plan. So let me outsource that to someone else. Hopefully they figure it out. And if they don't and it doesn't work out, at least the onus is not on me. It relieves me from the pressure. But what that means is if things go right, that also removes the depth of the success, the depth of the win. Thankfully, that was a fleeting thought and I ended up creating a path. I decided I was not going to apply to corporate jobs anymore and I was going to sell a service online. I was going to start freelancing, and that I did. I ended up building a multi-six-figure freelance business in 18 months, never worked a corporate job, and built the life that I thought was so far away myself with intentional actions. And yes, a lot of persistence, a lot of hard work, a lot of decision making, a lot of risk taking. In that journey, I was forced to make all those bigger decisions by myself, which meant the smaller day-to-day decisions that honestly felt debilitating at that time became easier, which made my life get richer. On the other side of all of that was a life where I get to experience the fullness of emotions. I took the risk, I made the decision, so I get to experience the depth of joy and happiness with what my life is now, the gratitude for the version of myself who did the things, and for the version of myself who felt the pain, who felt the suffering, who felt the sadness and the fear at the time as well. When you outsource your decision making, you outsource the onus, which means you outsource the wins and the depth of emotions, which make life feel rich and full of excitement. I think probably what's been in my subconscious mind that pushed me to make this today was a TikTok video I saw of a grown woman's reaction to a typical life occurrence. I'll play a little bit of it right now.
I'm about to sign the lease to my literal dream apartment, and instead of being excited and over the moon about it, I'm actually just stressed because I'm just so sick of having to make these massive life decisions by myself, and I have such an amazing support network that give me their advice and tell me what they think I should do. But at the end of the day, like, it all just sits on me, and I'm always just scared of making the wrong decision, and I'm just so sick of having to guide my own self through all of life. It should be so exciting, and instead I'm just stressed that I'm making the wrong choice. When does this feeling stop? I just wish I could share the responsibility of life and all of the decisions with someone.
Most women only want to get married because it gives them an opportunity to be a child still. It gives them an opportunity to revert to being a child. Most women do not want to be adults, okay? For most women, adulthood is scary, it's intimidating, it's overwhelming, and most women do not want to do what it is that is required to be an adult in this world.
This TikTok really spoke to me because I have beef with the way femininity is infantilized. I think it's odd how a lot of people see being soft and feminine as being a child. It's weird. And this video, I think, opened my eyes to another layer of this, in that there are a lot of women who don't want to grow up. They don't want to do adult things. So they seek love, men, relationships, distractions to avoid that. But when you do this, you're not just outsourcing your decisions and you're adulting. What you're doing is fully putting the entirety of your life and your emotions in someone else's hands. Your taste, your instincts, who you are as a person, you lose sight of all of that when you give someone else the keys to all the decisions you make. And what happens is it doesn't really feel like that until years down the line when, God forbid, something happens in the relationship, you break up or things change, or you just have a moment where you realize, I am not me. Like, this whole life that I'm living is not me. I've seen this so many times in my real life with older women that I know, even younger women who are only in shorter 2 to 4 year relationships. And one thing I'm going to do is learn without having to make the mistakes for myself. I'm going to learn through watching other people and patterns. And I think this is much deeper than people think. I'm always thinking about motherhood. Your girl is single and seemingly far from a motherhood right now, but I'm always observing and thinking about how I might make certain decisions in that season of my life. And something I've noticed is that there's a dependency loop with women who outsource their joy to the person that they're with, to their husband or whatever. Then the chances of them outsourcing their joy to their kids is also higher. The relationship to their partner and how their partner treats them or gives them attention on any given day directly reflects who they are and how they feel. Therefore, they'll do the same thing with their kids. If their kid does kid things and maybe goes against what you expect, instead of seeing it as just a kid being a kid, you'll see it as them betraying you because you're dependent on them for your happiness, your joy. And likely you will begin to resent them and your partner for the way that they're making your emotions so volatile. In outsourcing your decision making and emotions to someone else for relief, so you can be freed from adulting and having to do things for yourself and turn your brain off, you end up making things more difficult in the long run. And listen, I want to make it very clear, nobody is happy 24/7. And I do not think that is a state that you should be aiming to reach. When I was younger, this really confused me because I truly believed that there was something wrong with me because I didn't feel happy all the time. You are supposed to feel the range of human emotions. In a given month, yeah, you'll have weeks where you're like, you're not jumping off the walls, but that is what being human is like. This is completely normal. Happiness is not a permanent destination that you reach and then stay there. That's just not a thing. And no human being can make you permanently happy. You are not going to find this like everlasting happiness in a husband or in a kid or in a best friend or having a best friend group or getting that perfect job. That permanent infinite reel of happiness does not exist. And trying to find that in someone else is actually going to make you feel worse. The goal shouldn't be seeking that happiness. The goal instead should be for you to build a life that is meaningful to you, that represents you, that's painted with the colors that you love. So the picture of your life fully represents you. That way, when hard times come, when you're in a week where it's like, or it's really bad, you have something that drives you, or you at least like the picture that you painted. It feels like you. So you know that you can and will get to the other side of this or terrible feeling. What you should be aiming for is to ensure that the days don't completely unravel you and tear you down. And you are creating the perfect formula for that to happen if the foundation of your life is one that someone else built for you. Listen, hard things are the point. Let me say that again. Hard things are the point. The depth of emotion that you feel in the journey of doing something hard, of making a hard decision, is the good life. That is what you look back on and reflect. That nostalgia comes from those moments, even if in the moment it doesn't feel like that. And the range of what hard is so different for people. For some of you, you're thinking about making $1 million or creating a vaccine for something or building a school in your country. For some of you, hard is just living alone one day. Whatever that is to you, the depth of emotion you experience in the journey of doing said thing is what makes life feel good. The richness of your life is directly proportionate to how much of your life you're willing to own and how much of it you're willing to just dive into. Living life on quote easy mode will never give you the depth of emotion that you're seeking. And more, there are people that would literally die just to merely live in the country that you were born in. Actually, people do die in the process of trying to immigrate to countries that many of you listening were simply born into. What a privilege. The access you have to roof over your head, technology, Wi-Fi, options, grants, loans, transportations, all the things. I don't care what you've been through. I could list a deep list of traumas too, but ultimately, you know if you won the geography lottery ticket and you have it much better than 90% of the entire population of the world. I say this to say that there's so much audacity in being given this privilege and then being like, well, I'm going to opt out because it's just too hard for me to make decisions. It's too scary. It's too overwhelming. Boo hoo. I want you to reframe and really look at it from this perspective. It is a disgusting level of audacity to have. Opting out of this gold lottery ticket that you have is a luxury most people in this world can't even fathom. Adulting, making these hard decisions, and moving through this ever-changing world and the things that are occurring is a gift, and you should see it as such and at least try at the bare minimum to treat it like a gift. Now, I probably should have put this earlier on. My goal, my purpose here is to tell you to white knuckle your way through life alone and that community and love and all these things aren't important. In fact, I live to optimize for community. I believe community matters, love matters. If it wasn't for the village that I grew up around, getting adopted into an immigrant community and family, I would not be here in the way that I am, right? So this is extremely important. Love matters. I hope to find love and create a union one day. And I don't think wanting to be taken care of is a problem. I hate the girl boss culture and all the things. There is nuance, but I think that a lot of people have swung way too far and they seek other people as a substitution for becoming a full person. And then they sit there wondering why they feel so terrible. You feel terrible because you're trying to live a full, deep life through someone else when everything you're looking for is in inner work and building it yourself. Then actually, when you do that, you tend to build stronger community, better relationships, because you're not holding people to standards that one, they can't meet, and then not resenting them. You can have a little section on your canvas where they paint, but you need to have your own brush and you need to be doing 95% of that painting for the canvas of your life. Everything is not black and white. And the thing is, the internet and subcultures on the internet are much stronger when the message that presented is black and white because those are easier to grasp. It's more difficult to sit here and explain how you can value community and love and all these things, but also not fully rely on that. Being feminine is not equivalent to recessing to a childlike state. You can be all of it, disciplined, assertive, kind, loving, generous, all at once. So I'm begging you to give yourself a fair shot. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.